Am I the asshole for interrogating my wife after she hid her extra income? So me and my wife have been married for 7 years. We have 2 kids, 4 female and 2 female. My wife is a stay-at-home mother after our first daughter, as there was lots of complications with her pregnancy. I make just enough money, and my income goes to a joint bank account, and my wife makes the budget. Our house is my wife's grandmother's and was built in the 80s, so we are redoing it little by little, and money is always tight, but we make it work. After our second daughter, my wife doesn't have complications anymore. Even the problems from the first pregnancy went away. So we are doing better financially for the past year, and have started a college fund for the kids. My wife started a vegetable and fruits farm in our yard and roof, and is extremely good at it. She made a lot of money out of it. And to the issue now. A few days ago, I woke up early one morning and saw my wife putting the little one in the stroller and leaving. I tried to call her, but she couldn't hear me. After she left, I opened the tab to see her location, but she left her phone at home and there was no way of contacting her. I saw a message from the bank about a deposit in her account, which I didn't know she had. She came back at around 7, which is when I usually wake up. What struck me wrong was she came in through the back door and told me that she was in the backyard. I started asking her why she was lying and that I saw her leaving the house at 4 in the morning, and what is that extra money she deposited in her account? She denied it, and we had some back and forth, and I was getting late for work, so I left. When I came back, she acted like nothing happened, and I started asking her questions about where she went again. She got angry and told me I'm an asshole for interrogating her, and she doesn't have to tell me about her whereabouts. I was shocked, as this is the first time I've ever heard her talk like this or raise her voice. Even the kids were shocked. I didn't say anything afterwards, and she's still angry and hasn't talked to me. Am I the asshole for questioning her? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. 1. I started asking her questions without any consideration for her. I kept pushing even after I knew that she didn't want to answer. 2. I have never questioned my wife, and maybe I shouldn't have started asking her right after she came in and obviously looked very worn out. For my opinion on this one, I think it's fair that you give yourself those judgments here. But when you smell smoke, I do think it's smart to go looking for the fire. I don't think you were questioning her without any consideration for her. I think you're trying to consider where the hell she was. I don't think you have to consider her feelings in this situation. And that second point that you've never questioned your wife, and maybe you shouldn't have started asking her questions, just because you've never questioned her on things like this because it sounds like you've not had reason to, doesn't mean that you're an asshole for now questioning her. So to wrap things up, I don't think you're an asshole for your actions here. I think she's made some very questionable choices in my opinion and has not backed them up. So I'm gonna go not the asshole. And now in the comments, I'm gonna go with not the asshole because if my partner suddenly started acting like that, I'd be suspicious too and I'd ask for answers. However, I want to suggest something you might not have thought. As a woman, I was taught to have a separate bank account for my partner, which held emergency funds. This account should be kept secret and the amount should not be disclosed to my partner. This is because historically, a lot of women have stayed in bad, even dangerous situations because they were financially dependent on their partner. Women have died in situations like this. So many women are taught to have secret emergency funds. If this is the case for your wife, please try to understand that it isn't about you. It doesn't mean she thinks you'd hurt her or leave her, and it doesn't mean she plans on leaving you. But there's a sense of safety and security that comes with knowing you have an escape route if, God forbid, it is ever needed. Again, I have no idea if that is the case with your wife, but it might be. And in that case, I wouldn't ask any more questions. Just let her have her safety net, even if you don't think she needs one. Edit, I put this in a comment but wanted to add it here to avoid further confusion. I said not the arsehole because I agree that he was right to question her. That behavior was shady, but a lot of people don't consider the fact that some women are taught to have secret bank accounts. Honestly, I'm like 80% sure she's hiding the money for more nefarious reasons, but on the off chance that she's not, I simply wanted to offer another perspective. I don't care about the account. I'd be more worried about her taking your kid out at 4 AM and not telling you where she's taking the kid. That is a red flag to me. We always discuss our children and where we take them. Honestly, not the asshole. You are asking legitimate questions, and she is lying to you. It's not like it's an unfounded accusation, you saw her do it. And OP says, yeah, but it looks like she doesn't want to answer. My doubt is, should I have left it at that instead of pushing? No, you don't do what she did to your spouse. If it was nothing, she would have answered. You might want to hire a private investigator and find out. The fact that she hasn't talked to you in days is even more troubling. Not the asshole. And where was she at 4 AM? And OP says, I don't know, she hasn't talked to me in days. Something's up. You need marital counseling. She has caused trust issues, and something is making her not want to be honest. Your relationship is in serious trouble. You need to get to the bottom of this ASAP. It sounds like there's a chance she's having an affair. You have to look into this. I really hope she is not involving your child in something horrifying. But the fact that it's in the middle of the night, she takes the baby, she is getting extra money, and she doesn't take her phone, and then her reaction makes me worried for the baby. And OP says, I woke up 2 days ago at 4 to see where she was going, and she saw me and left the youngest with me and then left. Didn't say a word. And now onto the update. Thank you everyone for your replies. After work I bought a whole cheesecake and Fanta, her favorite combo, and I talked to her. After dinner, I went up to her and said sorry that I interrogated her and was pushy, and that I don't have any doubts, only concerns. She smiled and gave me a kiss, and said we'll talk after the kids went to bed. She said at first when she started gardening, she was selling her produce in the neighborhood, but when the production increased, she started selling to wholesalers, and the neighbors want fresh vegetables, so she started setting up a garden for the neighbors in their backyard, and she has done that for 8 neighbors. She usually takes the youngest as she needs mom as soon as she wakes up. Usually she gets a significant amount to set up a garden and then a regular maintenance charge. She has been adding the setup money in her account individually. She didn't tell me about it because, as lots of people guessed, it was for a surprise gift. Before I met my wife, there was a weird obsession in my family about a very expensive brand watch. My dad's dream is to own one. He died when I was 20, and for a while, I wanted to be super rich and have that watch by my age now. I've told my wife about it in the initial stage of dating, so she was saving up for it, but she was hesitant to buy a watch that expensive without talking to me. She didn't want me to think that I'm not worthy of expensive watches. She wanted to surprise me, but also wanted to talk about it. I told her I don't want the watch, I want to maybe start a retirement fund. But before that, we need a vacation. She agreed quickly to that. I showed her this post and she read through all the comments and said, if 100 people tell you to get a paternity test, and that made me want one, I can, and there's a hospital down the street. I don't want it. We agreed on going for counseling though. There was a lot of concern about tracking her location, but we both have our phones synced to the tab, and it started when she was sick. If she was feeling sick, she would press SOS and wait for me. I need her location access to get to her, and then she started using it to ask me to buy stuff on my way home. So it was agreed by both of us, and we can easily turn off location if we want privacy. About the lying, she wasn't exactly lying. There is no fence between the houses in our lane, and she was in our backyard for the past half hour. I didn't check. I checked after she left, but she went to the neighbor's backyard through their front door. She didn't want to answer my questions because of the way that I asked her. She wanted me to apologize for my tone before she tells me about it. It's all good now. We are going to spend the whole day together, and I'm not going to work today. And now in the comments, wow, the best possible outcome. So uncommon and refreshing here. How big is her garden that she sells wholesale? This is definitely possible. There are a lot of niche organic products that can command a premium. Things like heirloom varieties, specialty flowers, etc. Many new farmers struggle to buy or rent land, so they focus their output in super small plots of land for luxury markets, as opposed to the more well-known model of large-scale farming for mass markets. It's actually pretty common. I'm sorry, a whole cheesecake and a bottle of Fanta are her favorite things to eat? Asking the real questions here. Breastfeeding cravings are absurd and more aggressive than pregnancy cravings, but never talked about. Well, at least he didn't turn out to be an abuser, like some people were insisting. OP, if you read this, in a healthy, normal relationship, it is perfectly fine and benign to share locations. It only becomes abusive if one party uses it to control and stalk the other party. Other than that, it's just a tool that facilitates your daily routines. No need to change anything. And kudos to your wife for being so enterprising. Shared locations being turned on literally saved my mum's life. When I couldn't get a hold of her, I searched her location to see where she was. She was driving back from her country farm and hit a deer out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know that, just that her car was stopped on a sparse country lane 25 miles from home. I called the local sheriff and then headed out myself. Got there just in time to see her being loaded into an ambulance and unconscious. Had she waited much longer, I know she wouldn't have made it. Our next post is titled, "The couple, 28 female and 35 male, that I'm dating, wants me, 24 female, to get an abortion, and I don't know what to do." Hey y'all, I'm not sure if this is the best sub for this, but I just don't know who to talk to about this. I've been seeing this couple for over a year now. At first I would babysit for them, and then they asked if I'd hook up with them, and long story short, we started dating, and I moved in with them. I don't work, so I take care of the kids with the wife, but she's pregnant, so it's mainly me. They treat me well and take care of me. I honestly loved them both, although he is very bossy. I enjoy hooking up with the both of them together and separately, but I am now finding out that he was to use condoms at all times. The thing is, I remember at least 3 times that it was just us two, and he didn't, but promised he would pull out. I know I'm at fault for letting it happen, but it's hard to tell him no. Now that I found out I'm pregnant, he's denying it and says he's always used condoms. He's saying that I got pregnant the one weekend I was away to see my mom. I didn't sleep with anyone, and it was 4 months ago. Anyway, now they want me to get an abortion because they have their 4th baby on the way, which is due in June, and they said that they still want to be with me, but can't afford to have another baby right now. I don't know how to feel because I love them, and no one has ever made me feel this loved. Things were going so well, and I don't want to lose what we have, but at the same time I'm scared that I won't ever get pregnant again due to a family history of infertility issues. I don't know what to do or how to make a decision. Any advice, please? My advice would probably be to leave before things get worse. I mean, sure, you can try and talk it out if you want, but it doesn't seem like a healthy relationship dynamic going on there. And that's not to say that ethical non-monogamy is unhealthy. I'm just saying that this specific situation doesn't seem like it's going towards a happy ending. Seems like there are lies, mistrust, and resentment bubbling up to the surface currently, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be a fun ending here. And now in the comments, I speak as someone who has been in a triad, which is a 3-person relationship. This dynamic is not a healthy one. I'm judging this based off information given by you. They are using you as a fill-in for their failings as a couple. He isn't following the condom rule and is trying to avoid backlash from the wife by saying you slept with someone else. In a real triad relationship, there is no hierarchy putting their marriage above you. You should be equal in all aspects to them, but you aren't. A beaten path to follow that they've laid out for you. What you do with the baby is up to you, not either of them. Whether to stay or go is also up to you. But I hope that you find your worth and take care of yourself. First of all, if you decide to have this baby, I would expect to be a single mom. It's clear they are not interested in raising the child with you. You are entitled to child support, but you will probably not be allowed to live with them, and it wouldn't be positive for the child anyway if he is already denying parentage. So you'll need to find a job and a place to stay. Do you have any family support? And second, this arrangement is overdue to end whether you want to keep the baby or not. You're in a very vulnerable position with them, and they are using you for free childcare and convenient sex. There is clearly a power disparity that isn't healthy, and he is flat out lying and accusing you of things that you know aren't true in order to shirk his parental responsibility. Massive, glaring issues here. If you have anyone you trust outside of them to talk to, I would speak to them about this situation so you can at least wrap your head around it and get some support. OP, this is a super toxic environment. You feel like you're in love with these people. You are not. You were comfortable and you were being used. You are an unpaid live-in nanny who they have sex with when they want to. You are disposable. This is a toxic environment for you, their children, and your forthcoming child. There is nothing good or healthy here, even if it sometimes feels good in the moment. As far as having an abortion, that's a choice that you need to make. Are you emotionally, physically, and financially ready to have a child? Is this man going to be a good father to your child? Can you co-parent well with these people? Is this what you want out of life? Baby or no, this doesn't sound healthy for you. If you do decide to have this baby, model a healthy lifestyle and positive behaviors for your kid. And now on to the update. Well, you guys were right. I terminated my pregnancy over a week ago and found out today that they are breaking up with me. They didn't even want to explain why. They just said that they are doing what's best for their marriage. I didn't even get to say goodbye to the kids. They basically kicked me out and refused to answer my questions. I want to be so upset, but I'm just hurt and sad. I thought people here were being extra and just didn't understand our relationship, but I guess you were right. What do I do with myself now? What do I do with my life? I can't go back to my mom's. I can't go back to college. I can't go back to them. I have no one to talk to. I basically have nothing to live for now. Hell, I don't even know where I'm gonna live. I don't know where to go from here. I feel so stupid, but I guess I did this to myself, and this is what I get. And now in the comments, as a mum of 2 girls, they may do some of the dumbest crap on the planet multiple times, but no matter what, they can always come home. No matter how frustrating it is for me to hear of it, it is their decisions to make. As long as you learn from the past and do better for yourself, your mum will be there. That's what we are here for, to love you shitheads, and I say this with as much love as a mother can give, unconditionally. Good luck. I remember your post. Why can't you go back to your mother's? And OP says, because it is just another thing I failed at. I'm always just another problem for her to deal with when she already has so much on her plate. I never make her proud, I constantly mess up. Hi, internet mum here. I don't know your mum, but I would be relieved my daughter got out of a bad situation and was safe at home again. I would be horrified to see my child suffer at any age. Instead of assuming her reaction, give her a chance. I wish I could give you a great big hug. I feel incredibly bad for OP. Seems like her mom was abusive, and then this couple used her as a sex nanny until things got too real, and then dumped her. This is more common than one would think too. Nothing like predatory frickin' unicorn hunters. Thanks for saying this. So many unicorn hunters are just the worst and get downright manipulative. Then they also used her for free childcare. Disgusting. I am sure disgusted how the husband was lying about using condoms and tried to just say OP was sleeping around. So predatory in so many ways. I wish there was a bit more awareness about this stuff. Too often it just gets dismissed as being anti-poly when it's not about the poly bit. It's about the this is manipulative, unhealthy, and toxic. Like how OP wrote off kind advice about how toxic this unbalanced triad was as folks just being bigots that didn't understand. There is nothing bigoted about acknowledging the fact that the more people involved in a relationship that involves sex or living together, the higher chance there is for issues and problems. Especially when one couple is already long established with their own pre-formed rules they expect the new third to follow. Lots of chances for imbalance and hierarchy that results in pressure or hurt. Age gaps bring in even more issues. Everyone needs to be incredibly emotionally mature for it to work, and even then, it is still a lot of work and empathy to maintain. Too many couples jump to inviting a third without thinking things through, especially when one person is doing it to make the other person happy, or they go into it with a million expectations and rules, but only for the new addition to follow. Our next post is titled, How can I, 27 female, get my boyfriend, 31 male, of 2 years, to stop digging his tunnel? So I know this is a weird question, but my boyfriend likes to spend a lot of his free time digging a tunnel on some property that he inherited. I haven't seen the full extent of it, but last I saw, it was remarkably deep under the surface. He has spent roughly a year on it, and it's evident. The front of the thing is deep, wide, well put together. At the front, which is the only part that I've seen, he's got cement beams, electric lights, even chairs and a small table. I haven't gone into it, but it looked like the quality severely dropped as the tunnel went further, mostly becoming open dirt with some wood beams holding it up. My biggest concern is his safety. I'm really worried that he's going to dig too deep and it'll collapse on him or something. I've tried voicing this concern to him, but he just laughs it off and assures me that he'll be fine. Aside from the safety concerns, there's also the fact that he doesn't really have a social life because of this thing. I'm pretty much the only person he still talks to outside of his job, and he doesn't go out and do anything anymore. It used to be that he'd occasionally head out and do some digging on the weekends, but now he spends almost all of his free time out there. He still comes home, but he barely spends any time with me, and I know he isn't doing anything but digging that damn hole in the ground. This can't be good for his mental health, but I don't know how to convince him to stop. He's always really happy when he comes back from digging, which is why I haven't seriously tried to stop him before, but I was talking to a friend about him, and she told me he might be going crazy. Obviously, I don't think he's insane, but I hadn't considered the mental aspect of this, and I just don't know what to do. OP, is your boyfriend's name Gimli by chance? Check if he's not wearing one of the 7 dwarven rings of power and is digging down to go find a Balrog down there, because that would suck. There was also this video I watched at one point where some guy contracted 2 people to help him dig a hole under his house, and then a fire started and those 2 people died of smoke inhalation. Seems like there's way more cons than pros in situations like this. I do think you need to convince him to stop digging the hole. I would be worried for his physical and mental health also. This seems very unhealthy. And now in the comments, why is he digging the tunnel? Is this like a survivalist thing, like a bunker? I feel like why he's building the tunnel would be important when considering how you might approach him taking a break from it or chilling out a bit with it. At first I was gonna say this is just his weird hobby and you might have to put up with it, but if digging this tunnel is starting to interfere with the rest of his life, that's a bad sign. You said that it used to be a weekend thing and now it's all the time. When did that change? Did something happen around that time that might have triggered something in him? And also, is there anyone else in his life aside from you that he might listen to? Sit him down and tell him, I want you to really listen to me. I'm worried about how much time you're spending on the tunnel. It's affecting the rest of your life. Give specific times or ways in which it has done so. Is everything okay? Prepare for all possible outcomes to the convo. It's unlikely he'll just say, yeah babe, you're right, I'll stop. He will be resistant. Maybe ask if he's willing to compromise at, let's say, 8 hours a week of tunneling, or that he will leave 2 nights a week open for you and him, no tunneling, or that he'll at least put in some more safety measures so he doesn't get hurt in there. Think about what would help you and him. Also, think about what you will do if this doesn't improve or change, because if it doesn't, that means you have to make a choice about how this will affect your own life. Good luck. Well, I dated someone who is a recovering meth addict, and the number one thing he liked to do when he was high was dig his tunnel. That Breaking Bad episode where the dude's just digging a hole and it attracts the other meth heads, lol. What are you doing? Digging. Why? You know why. Not gonna lie, this is one of the strangest things that I've read on this sub. That being said, is he addicted to meth? Meth heads love a marathon tunnel dig. And now on to the update. Alright, so I've spoken with my boyfriend, and after a good long chat, I can successfully say, mission accomplished. I sat him down when he came home Thursday night and seriously voiced my concerns, both about his safety and about our relationship. He hadn't realized how big of an effect this had been having on me in regards to our relationship, and he immediately said that he was going to cut the time he spent out there in half. He said that we could spend the entire weekend together, and we pretty much did. Friday night was spent at home, and we went out for a nice dinner Saturday night after we spent the day together. We were going to have a nice, lazy Sunday together, but I could tell he was getting kind of antsy and almost nervous after church today. So I told him that he could go ahead and go to his tunnel early if he wanted to. I won't lie, I was kind of hoping that he would stay at home, but he decided to go back out, which is alright by me. I talked to him about my concerns regarding gases that Joel made me realize I should be conscious of, and he said that he'd work to get some sort of ventilation system installed ASAP, and that he'd even dig with his dad's old gas mask if it'd make me feel better. The only thing that I didn't bring up was maybe going to therapy about it. Mainly because he said that he'd cut back, and I didn't want to push the issue too far. I think that he could maybe benefit from it. But he is of the opinion that you only go to therapy if there is something wrong with you, and I don't want him to think that I'm saying that there is something wrong with him, so all in all, maybe I should have brought that up, but I'm definitely happy with how things have turned out. So thanks everybody that gave some advice. Also, a lot of you are asking why he tunnels, and while I'd asked him before, I asked again, and this was his answer. It's just pleasant. When I'm down there, I feel safe and calm, and I'm always happier when I leave than when I went in. Illuminati confirmed, he is in fact a dwarf. Now in the comments, dude's a mole man. He's not just digging a tunnel, he's going home. One of my brothers has always been the mole man sort. Going camping, he digs out a hole for the fire pit. Going to the beach, he's gonna start digging and see how far he can get before the tide comes in. He frickin' loves digging. His whole room was bulldozers, excavators, etc, etc. Now, as a grown-ass man, he's had one job. It's digging holes. He digs holes for the telephone company. He started off being the one to jump in after the hole's dug and clear off the lines, and then he had to stand above the hole and watch it for any sign of a cave-in. Now he gets to drive the big digger and dig the big holes himself. Originally, he wanted to get his heavy equipment license to drive the big ones, but he's happy just digging his 6 feet holes on a small crew. Damn, now there's a man who loves his life. Goals. To be honest, his life goal is to get a piece of land for himself, dig a giant hole, and build a bunker. The way he describes it, it would start off small but livable, and then he would expand it over time. It's an anthill. He wants to live in an anthill. Also, this is pretty good anecdotal evidence as to why you should encourage your kids' interests, even if it's something as silly as digging holes. Dad was always taking him to construction sites to watch the diggers and dozers, and a few times we went on tours of old mines and caves and stuff. Then, when it came time to find a job, he pretty much knew exactly what he wanted to do. This story makes me feel something perplexed, but like in a satisfying way where I don't want to fathom their rationale because it might spoil the perplexity. I'm feeling a wonder at the diversity in human nature. Of all the, frankly terrifying, kinks and obsessions we read about on Reddit, this guy just likes digging in the dirt. My son does this a lot, to the point that we've had to dedicate specific areas he's allowed to dig in because our yard was starting to look trashy and had become treacherous. It's soothing for him, like OP's boyfriend, and it seems to be one of those ADHD things that he can really focus on and chill. It's like his version of a Zen garden, I guess. Can't wait for the next update when he digs too deep and greedily. I hope the girlfriend dumps him for the Balrog. No man is as hot as a Balrog. Alright guys, and that's where I'm gonna leave you for today. I do hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.